Representing Alps, together with Mr. Chaffee, to sign the agreement between the IDA and Alps in relation to the establishment of a plant here. So that will be the first one.
Now, with the agreement signed, I will ask the Minister to Mr. Albert Reynolds to take over.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Dennis Chairman, I suppose, my parliamentary colleagues, and Chairman of the Cork County Council, distinguished guests, Reverend Sisters, ladies and gentlemen, the members of the band and the kids that didn't get in. First of all, I'm extremely delighted to be here in Millstreet this afternoon, and first of all I want to extend my sincere thanks for a wonderful Millstreet welcome. I've heard about it many times, but you have to be here to witness it. And no doubt that the gratitude of the total community is clearly expressed in the welcome not alone to me here today, but indeed to our friends from Japan and the United States. It's a very big afternoon indeed for Millstreet, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity and the privilege to announce a very significant industrial coup for Millstreet and indeed for this part of Duhallow. Alps Electric, a world-renowned manufacturer of computer components and electronic sub-assemblies, have completed arrangements, and as you've just seen, have just signed themselves in with the IDA to set up a major manufacturing facility here in Millstreet in the former Apple plant. Alps Electric are to invest £5.6 million in the project, and their agreement with the IDA involves the creation of 159 jobs over a 5-year period. The company have already started to recruit their core management team, and it is expected that about 100 people will be employed during the first year of operation. Production is expected to get underway in Millstreet by July of this year. In this Millstreet plant, Alps Electric Ireland Limited will manufacture computer peripherals, including keyboards, graphic input devices, and computer disk drives for the European markets. It gives me indeed great pleasure to welcome to Ireland the representatives of Alps Electric USA, who are with us today to mark the announcement and indeed to sign the agreements of the establishment of this strategic new manufacturing facility. Alps Electric USA is a subsidiary of the Alps Electric Company, a household name in Japan and the world's leading independent manufacturer of electronic components. Today's announcement is clearly a very significant development for this area, but it is of national significance as well. The company's decision to locate here adds a strategic arm to the electronics industry in Ireland, incorporating as it does the manufacture of flexible and rigid disk drives. The prestige of Alps Electric adds a new dimension to the electronics manufacturing sector here in Ireland. The Alps Group generate annual revenues of about £1.8 billion worldwide. It is an internationally diversified company with manufacturing facilities and joint venture operations in the United States, Taiwan, Korea, the United Kingdom, Brazil, and a recently announced operation in Germany. They also have sales companies that mark Alps products in North America, Europe, and Asia. Alps components and products are used in systems and equipment by the leading world computer and computer peripheral manufacturers. The company has strong business relations with a number of American-based companies who have manufacturing subsidiaries in Europe. It is internationally acclaimed as a highly competitive manufacturer of components and electronic sub-assemblies. As such, it will become a key player for Ireland in the European market. What that means in the plainest of plain language is that Millstreet has won more than a new project, it has won a star project. It is significant for the community in Millstreet and for the IDA that despite the many choices of possible locations, the company recognised that Millstreet has available a first-class workforce and a ready-made facility which could easily be adapted to its needs. In that context, I want to publicly and warmly acknowledge the extensive support which Apple Computer Ireland Limited gave to the IDA and the Millstreet community to win this investment for the town. Apple not only maintained its plant in Millstreet since the closure 2 years ago, but also worked very actively to attract this prestigious replacement project. Apple Computer still maintains a major presence in Cork, where over 400 people are employed in the company's European manufacturing headquarters at Holy Hill. The community association here in Millstreet, under the direction of Kin Brennan, is also to be commended for the successful efforts made to maintain the morale of the town following the closure of the Apple plant 2 years ago. Many other communities would have been devastated by the loss of such a major project, yet the people of Millstreet never lost heart and devoted much energy and enthusiasm to ensuring that a new job-creating industry would be brought to this town. The positive attitude and approach taken by the community in Millstreet when Apple closed provides a useful example of how a town should react when it suffers a serious setback. The people here did not waste time in pointless recriminations. They sat down with Apple and decided to work with them to help to find a new industry. The Industrial Committee, indeed under a former colleague and an old friend of mine, Tom Meany, prepared an updated profile of Millstreet, giving details of the facilities in the factory, information on road, rail, sea and air connections, and facts about local educational, social and community facilities. It also stressed the qualifications of the workforce and the good industrial relations record at the factory. This profile proved to be a useful sales weapon in the effort to attract a new industry. I can tell you now that your efforts have been well rewarded and that in the current international economic climate, you have won one of the best investments in the mobile investment world today. Community spirit, which has been such a factor in bringing this major industry, does not surprise anyone who knows this area. Noel C. Duggan, another tireless promoter of Millstreet, is the first to acknowledge that the international success of the horse show, now a major event on the equestrian calendar, is based on the sure foundation of solid community support and enthusiasm. Equally, I know that the community itself would acknowledge that there would not be a horse show without the dynamism and drive of the same Noel C. I believe that the success story we are recording here in Millstreet reflects a wider renewal of business confidence throughout the country. In the past 12 months, our people generally have responded to decisive government leadership. They have shown great political maturity in accepting the simple truth that you cannot go on spending money that you haven't got. Our people understand that the government has had to take some tough decisions to get our national finances back in order. Those decisions are already paying off. Inflation at about 2% is at its lowest level since 1963. The outflow of funds from the state has ceased, and as a result, interest rates have dropped by 5 percentage points, bringing with it well-earned relief to very severely hit mortgage holders. Compared to an almost total lack of growth in recent years, investment by manufacturing industry in 1987 increased by 5%. Manufacturing output increased by 10%. That is 3 times the rate of growth in the previous 2 years. Industrial exports experienced dramatic growth also in 1987, increasing by 14%. Our total exports for 1987 were £10.7 billion, and our trade surplus of around £1.5 billion was an all-time record. The government is also addressing the problems of industrial costs in a very determined fashion. In 1987, there were no increases in electricity, postal or telecommunications charges. And in the recent budget, my colleague, the Minister for Finance, announced an effective 5% reduction in electricity charges for industrial consumers. This should further reduce the imbalances between Irish charges and those of our competition abroad. High insurance costs are another burden on industry and the individual. The government is now engaged in a forceful drive to get these costs down also. We are taking action on the areas that affect these costs, the courts, our legal procedures, and safety in the workplace. All these positive factors help to account for the new spirit of confidence now evident throughout the country. It is indeed very evident here in Millstreet today. Someone suggested to me that Millstreet is relatively isolated given that it is off the main road. I would not accept that for 1 minute. From what I have seen here today, I would say, knowing the spirit and outlook of the people here, that any road that leads to Millstreet has to be a main road. The people of this town have a heartening, positive outlook towards creating their own future. The success of your international horse show is an envy of many. It has put the town on the map with industrialists throughout Europe who come here annually for that event. I see a great future for Millstreet, and I can assure the Alps representatives that they could not have chosen a better location than here in Millstreet. And I know that one of them is coming home. I will now finish by quoting a proverb which I believe every child in this area is taught in school. Kyo ar mushra agus clara glum, Cortishan is far ar down. Roughly translated for our Japanese and American friends, a mist on mushra and clara clear, best signs on earth that the weather is set fair. Whatever the Met man says about Millstreet here today, I think that the economic climate itself at least offers a very promising outlook. And I suppose I could sum up the whole operation here today by saying that Millstreet has certainly climbed the Alps. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. And I would now like to introduce, well, I suppose introduction is not the right word, because the man I am now calling on to speak is a man who spent a year here already in Millstreet, and through his good offices this plant is here today, and that is none other than Craig Chaffee, who came here with Keyboard when Keyboard was setting up the plant here initially. Okay, Craig Chaffee.
Thank you very much. Mr. Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege to be here again today and share in this ceremony, I guess we call it. I can't remember exactly what day it was, but sometime I know in March 1981, when I was here, I think in the same room, and had an activity announcing the first U.S. company to come to the Millstreet area, the keyboard company. As Dennis mentioned there, I brought my family here and spent just short of 1 year. And we lived here in the Millstreet town. We had a great time. I personally had one of the most rewarding, exciting, unusual circumstances, certainly in my work career. But what made it most rewarding, it wasn't that we made a lot of money here, because we didn't. And we didn't have any whiz-bang latest technology or sophisticated equipment. We didn't have any of that either. But what we had was a genuine, energetic, get-it-done teamwork spirit here that we had with the workers, the management staff that I had, the community. The support was everywhere. And to put it in other words, it was the people that made the difference for me. And I hope we can do the same thing again and enjoy at least the same startup success that I did. If you keep throwing parties like this, I don't know, I might have to go to another company and bring another one here. just kidding, Mr. Kamioka. That's verboten in Japanese. No, it's just my poor attempt at a joke there. But no, really, it's great to be here again. And it was mentioned we've already begun recruiting some of the senior staff. There will be some announcements on that probably within another month or two. We're gearing up in Garden Grove, where I'm currently located, to support the operation here with some of the initial equipment and all to get things rolling. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the Alps group of companies. It's so big and so huge I could spend a long time on it. We've brought an excellent video with us on technology and know-how of Alps. It's going to be shown, I don't know if to the entire group or anyone that wants to see it, I guess, later on. So that'll give you a much better idea of what Alps is all about. As a company, it has a very long history. This year, there's a lot of significant events besides this one. The Alps headquarters in Japan is celebrating their 40th year in business this year, and the Alps Electric USA company, which I'm a part of, is celebrating its 10th year anniversary. So maybe better said here is the next time we can have a party like this is maybe for our 10th year anniversary here for Alps Electric Ireland Limited. But it gives me pleasure now to introduce another person who's made a big difference, certainly to over 500 people in the U.S. that report to Alps Electric USA, and that's our senior executive, our executive vice president and general manager, Mr. Tsutomu Kamioka.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, actually, Craig made the manuscript for my speech because I'm still language handicapper in terms of the English. But when I entered into the Millstreet, I'm in the town of Millstreet, I have changed my mind, not reading the very conventional type of the address. Better for me to make some of the speech from my some personality though. Well, 2.5 years ago, we took the operation out of Apple Computer in southern part of California. And I asked Craig to be a plant manager there. And we started 94 people. That's the September 1985. And whenever I visit to the Craig's office, he keeps the pamphlet of the building right over there, Millstreet. And he said that Kameoka, this is on sale. And well, I commented like, well, first of all, we have to concentrate on the Garden Grove. On the other hand, whenever we got the meeting with Craig, he explained the good old story in Millstreet. And I came to understand that, well, Craig want to be back to the Millstreet again. And this is main reason for me to decide to come here. But the company or business cannot survive with the nostalgia that I know. And as Craig mentioned, that we Alps always think of the long-term basis. And even as far as I'm concerned, I arrived in New York 1970, and since then I have been in the United States and try to look for the long-term business. And even when we start up the Garden Grove operation-wise, right now we have almost 400 people, but 2.5 years ago, we just started 94 people, including the Craig Chaffee. Thus, if we take a look at results, that's a tremendously growth. But always I have been telling to the people in Garden Grove, we want to make it slow and steady. And in our U.S. operation, we set up our company policy, or philosophy-wise. We will grow with stability, and let's grow slow and steady. And number two is going to challenge to the innovation. And number three is most important, to have great teamwork. And I think one of the point for Japanese company to be successful so far is they have very great teamwork efforts. And when I try to explain the teamwork, everybody could understand, well, that's working together well. And actually, I don't mean it. Well, let's see, we are the one family. And once your brother is helping, or asking your help, then without any hesitation, you try to help him. This is the way that we want to make our organization-wise. And I wish to have the same situation here in Millstreet, and we will try to show the part of Japanese management or Japanese culture, and another part of American culture, and the another culture from your own country, though. And we want to make the better organization and also operation-wise with such a great teamwork. And in order to make the our success story, it's depend upon the people. And this is my personal even the philosophy in terms of my management way. Without the people, we cannot grow at all. And always we respect the people. And I wish you to help us, and we will do our best. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamioka. And now there's a gentleman here on behalf of Cork County Council who would like to say a few words. I'd like to introduce you to Frank Crowley, Chairman of Cork County Council.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Minister, Mr. Kamioka, Craig Chaffee. It is indeed a very auspicious day for North Cork and for Millstreet Town in particular, and it gives me considerable pleasure to welcome most warmly Mr. Kamioka from Japan to Craig Chaffee. I say welcome home. Because Craig, I think, knows this area perhaps better than most. But more than that, he knows the type of commitment, he knows the type of workforce, he knows the environment, he knows the area. And when one has somebody as so important in such a prestigious situation as Craig, I think one must accept that Millstreet has something very special. The Community Council here is an example, I think, to every town and to every village in our country, as it shows what can be done. To Noel Buckley and his committees, I congratulate and I wish them well and every success. I just want to say briefly, but importantly, that you will find the local authority helpful and supportive in every way, as I believe that is the task we should have. You will find us helpful in so many ways, and do not hesitate to communicate with us. I want to say as well that coming here to Millstreet, having the example of Apple, the previous experience gained there, with the type of workforce that's available, I believe that this will be, and I certainly hope, a very successful industry. To Alps and to their executives, I say, I hope above all it will be profitable. To the staff who will work here, I hope it will be beneficial. Thank you very much indeed.
I want to introduce someone from Millstreet, but before doing so, I want to say, you've heard it, Millstreet, you make your own salespeople. The people who come in and find the welcome, the spontaneity, the hospitality, the willingness to help, the cooperation, have responded. Craig Chaffee has brought back another industry. And, there are other people out there, I'm quite sure, selling Millstreet. And the moral of the occasion is that if you show a positive attitude, if you respond to people, you try to cooperate with them, and you help them to develop, then you can expect more and more. I would like to say thank you to Millstreet Community Council, to say thank you to everyone who has anything to do with the school in particular and everything else, and introduce the present gentleman, or the next gentleman, who is Ken Brennan, who is the principal of this community school. I want to say thank you to Ken, because his teachers, have done everything to help the community to respond. They, with Millstreet Dowden, with Tom Meany, all the others, Noel Buckley, the whole lot of them, they've been a very positive influence for good in this community. And Ken, I am delighted to welcome you to the rostrum here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Mr. Minister, Mr. Kamioka and Mr. Chaffee, distinguished guests and friends, I am privileged to speak on behalf of the local community on this day which will surely prove one of the most auspicious in Millstreet's long history. The importance of the event has been underlined by the very welcome presence of Mr. Albert Reynolds, who has taken the time from his very busy schedule to come to Millstreet to make this announcement. Millstreet extends to Alps a resounding fáilte, a heartfelt Irish welcome. We fully recognize and appreciate the significance of this excellent concern citing its operations here. We have been given a tremendous opportunity on a scale exceeding our most optimistic hopes. From this day forward, Alps will become synonymous with Millstreet Town. We have always maintained our greatest asset was the caliber of our people. But we also are uniquely fortunate in the quality of our friends. This outstanding prospect would not have come to Millstreet but for the goodwill and advocacy of some people we are delighted to have with us today. I want to thank them sincerely on behalf of everyone in the area. I must first thank a man who lived amongst us previously and was highly respected by those who worked with him and who knew him. He was not forgotten when he left Millstreet, nor did he forget us. His comings and goings in recent times have necessarily been clouded in secrecy, but he's here in his official capacity today. Ladies and gentlemen, a quiet American of admirable integrity to whom Millstreet will be forever in debt, Craig Chaffee. Over the years, we have had a most fruitful relationship with our Industrial Development Authority. We have believed in the IDA, and even in our darkest hour, kept faith with the men we had known for years. How well our trust has been rewarded. Right from the top of the IDA, and particularly in Dennis McCarthy and his team in Cork, Millstreet has had friends who spared no effort on our behalf. Gentlemen of the IDA, we thank you. Mr. Kamioka, you come from a country which has won the admiration of the world for its achievements, particularly in the field of technology. The remarkable success of Japan represents a triumph for the resourcefulness, commitment, determination, and hard work of the Japanese people. You may well be the first of your race to come to Millstreet, but I sincerely hope you'll be the first of many. Mr. Kamioka and Mr. Chaffee, you have done us a great honor and a great service in your declaration of faith in our community. You are entitled to expect only the best from us in return. We assure you we will deliver. Your Millstreet plant will be staffed by able, energetic, and well-motivated people in whom you can have complete confidence. We guarantee you a showpiece plant with workmanship and productivity reaching the highest international standards. You will never regret your decision to choose Millstreet. Ladies and gentlemen, for all of the Millstreet area, this is a day of rejoicing and the dawn of a new era in our development. As Mr. Kamioka has said, the exciting alliance has been forged between the ingenuity of Japan, the dynamism of the United States, and the capability of the people of Millstreet. With such a triumvirate, the success of Alps and the future prosperity of this area is surely inevitable. Thank you. We would also, on this occasion, like to mark this occasion with some small tokens of our appreciation for the Minister, for Mr. Kamioka and Mr. Chaffee. And we have three of our community leaders to make these presentations. First of all, to the Minister, Mr. Noel C. Duggan.
I can't present him with anything if I don't get it to do it. Thank you. Not so long ago, a very well-known presenter in national television asked me, "Where is Millstreet?" I was annoyed, and I wanted to explain, but she didn't give me time to do so. You can imagine how elated we feel today that Minister Reynolds and our friends from Japan and United States have come among us, and they had no difficulty in finding us. It is very pleasant for me that Minister Reynolds decided to come here to make the very important announcement, because when some people in his constituency wanted a factory constructed, they came to Millstreet to find a man to do so.
You found your way to
Mr. Minister, I'm happy to present you with a home product to take home with you.
One more. Charlotte, one more. That's the bit.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much.
And now, to make a presentation to Mr. Kamioka, Tom Meany.
Mr. Minister, Mr. Kamioka, Mr. Chaffee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am greatly honoured on behalf of the Local Industrial Committee to make a presentation to Mr. Suetimo Kamioka. While Mr. Chaffee is known to many of us, it is our first time having the pleasant experience of meeting Mr. Kamioka. He was a stranger to us before today. It is now no longer the case, and he can feel at ease as he is among friends. And we look forward in building up a lasting friendship with him in the years to come. We in the Industrial Committee fully understand that the world owes no one a living, and that we must present ourselves as a unified, hard-working community to succeed in the modern world. There is no place in a successful society for moaners, begrudgers and knockers. I would like to take this opportunity to say that our services are always available if we can help in any way. We are firm believers in the motto, a problem shared is a problem halved. Our wish for Alps Electric Ireland Limited today is that your project here will go from strength to strength, swelling the coffers of the parent company, and in the process giving much appreciated employment to many Irish boys and girls in their native environment. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honour for me, on behalf of the Industrial Committee, to present Mr. Kamioka with this token of appreciation and a reminder of this very special occasion. No, sir. There you are.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And finally, on behalf of Millstreet Community Council, to present to Mr. Chaffee, Noel Buckley.
Mr. Chairman, Minister Reynolds, Mr. Kamioka, Mr. Chaffee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In my role as Chairman of the Community Council, I think it would be remiss of me before I get on to my main function if I did not join with Ken Brennan in extending a warm and hearty welcome to Minister Albert Reynolds, to Mr. Kamioka, to Mr. Chaffee and all the other distinguished guests, as well as the people of Millstreet. In that capacity as Chairman of the Millstreet Community Council, I have been entrusted with the most pleasurable task of making a presentation to Mr. Craig Chaffee on behalf of the local community. He was here before, as I will be telling you later on. I did not know him very well, so I did some investigation into it last night, and this is what I came up with, and I wrote it down in case I would forget it. So you'll forgive me for reading it. Millstreet has made many new friends today, but this presentation is recognising an old and a loyal friend of our town. Mr. Craig Chaffee came to Millstreet initially in September of 1981 and lived here until July of 1982. I hope I got the dates right, Craig. He was coming from sun-drenched California to the foot of the oft-times misty Clara Mountain, but thankfully, the climatic contrast did not deter him. His sojourn among us had a lasting effect on Craig Chaffee himself and on Millstreet. He apparently enjoyed his time in our town and was especially impressed with the scenic beauty of the area. It is also rumoured that he's a keen angler. Have you got a licence?
I did have.
Sorry. No, I am not sure whether he had the opportunity to indulge his interest while living here previously, but now that he will hopefully be frequenting Millstreet at least, no doubt he will get the opportunity of casting a line into our famous black water and relaxing in one of our taverns, sampling a pint of his favourite tipple, which I believe is Smithwick's. That's just an odd one out. If Millstreet appealed to Craig Chaffee, there can be no doubt that Craig Chaffee made a profound and lasting impression on Millstreet, and especially on the workforce in Keyboard. He was regarded with great affection because of his affable personality, his straightforward approach, and his integrity. Undoubtedly, the coming of Keyboard to Millstreet and Craig Chaffee's input into that development was a decisive watershed in the history of our town. It boosted the confidence of the town, gave an opportunity to the local workforce to develop their skills and abilities, and prove to ourselves as a community and to the IDA that Millstreet had all the facets necessary and was an ideal location for a multinational industry. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the hallmarks of friendship is loyalty. Craig Chaffee has indeed been a loyal friend to Millstreet, and so it is an honour and a privilege for me as chairman of the Community Council on behalf of the community to present him with a small token of our the esteem we hold him in. Thank you.
My biggest frustration was the telephone system, and that was a real frustration. How should I know it was? I was waiting for an operator to pick up the phone and report the telegraph that he approved it. All instantly. Turned it upside down. Then you can't go nowhere. No. Everyone thought it was bad. Is that right?